Okay.
Okay, we are live. Very good. All right, good evening, everyone. Yeah, today I have a very special guest with me, none other than Loo Cheng Chuan from 1M65 Movement. Hey, Mr. Loo, say hi to both of our audience.
Very good evening to everybody. And I think I'm also live on 1065. Um,
Yes, you are.
okay, wait. I always have this.
Yeah, I also want to check. Usually,
Yeah.
I also must check.
Okay. William, are you live on 1065 or Honey Money? Because I won't be able to see your
Uh,
comment, right, Chris?
I think, yeah, I think you have to open on your phone. Then you can see
Okay.
it.
Okay, then I'll just see
Yeah.
from my comment. Okay, and then you monitor your.
Okay.
When you're too old, you can't monitor too many things.
Okay, great. I can see you on your channel already. Yeah, this is the first time we are doing a concurrent live stream, so forgive us on our
I've never done
technicalities.
before, and I'm very happy to do it. Okay, so
Yeah,
the usual thing I tell my guys is the first 5 people coming get a pair of free tickets sponsored by Singtel to, I think it's called
do it.
Heritage Center. So
Wow.
Chris, you are number one. So you get it.
Thank you,
Okay,
thank you. Oh
and then
wow.
William, Dave, Net, E3, CC Kit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the
Wow, a
5
lot
of
of
you.
people.
Okay.
I
Yep.
have to thank your influence, Mr. Lu. Your influence is much greater than mine.
No,
But
I don't-
yeah,
I don't think it's a measure of influence. I think it's a measure of value we bring to everybody in Singapore.
yeah. Maybe I share a bit about my history of how I got to know 1M65. I actually heard of this movement like in 2019 when I talked about when I read out on Dollars and Cents, right? You wrote some articles there. But I didn't know that you have a Telegram group. So I only joined the Telegram group in like 2020. So all this was before I even started the YouTube channel. Then I started my channel in 2021, started talking about CPF and also sharing the education behind it. Then along the way, I saw like, Mr. Lu start YouTube channel. Interesting. Then I started to watch. He's a very good speaker from my point of view. So I also want to learn how he speaks, especially when he done his live in the recent Dollars and Cents event. Wow, that one really power. That one I really want to learn how he got the kung fu to do public speaking. That's why I'm always learning from him lah in this way.
So maybe this is where I also want to share that I'm a late comer to the YouTube channel, YouTubing. I think Chris was ahead of me. I mean, uncle like me take a much longer time to learn new things. So I actually come offline to online. That means I did a lot more public speaking, then came online and learned YouTubing. So I went the other way around. So you will find me naturally maybe a little bit better at public speaking and a lot worse in YouTubing. Right? So I actually call Chris in the early years a lot of times to ask him, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you add this? How do you add that? Because I have no freaking idea how to do this. This is a young man game, and gradually, it's okay to humble yourself to know that young people are better than you. So Chris taught me a lot, and I have to thank him. Yes.
Yeah, including today's session is our first time doing a concurrent live stream, and it's not easy to get everything set up because I was also exploring, like trying to get things working so that both of our channel can get the audience. Yeah, so thank you to everyone who also support.
Thank you, everybody.
And
And I want to
yeah,
thank Chris because you're the one who figure out how to do this. I wouldn't know how to do this thing.
I know, right? Even I had a hard time, so I cannot imagine all the others who do not have like the experience behind this. Yeah, so yeah, I think okay, before we start the main discussion, right? I also want to bring you all to the QR codes on top of both of our heads, right? So on top of Mr. Lu, there is a QR code that leads to his 1M65 YouTube channel. So for my audience, if you have not known Mr. Lu 1M65 yet, please scan the QR code, join his channel. He has a lot of teachings, live streams, in fact, daily on the market news, economy, investing, CPF, and whatnot. So very interesting stuff. I'm also a follower of his channel. And then on top of my head, I have my, the QR code to support if you want to click on my IBQR link. So it pays a small commission for every click I receive, just to be full disclosure. Okay. Mr. Lu, anything to share to your audience?
I follow Honey Money quite a lot and will watch a lot of his sharing as well. He's particularly very good in finding miles miles for credit card. Yeah, that part I follow him quite a lot, and
Thank you.
I must admit that through some of his sharing, I accumulated quite a lot. Okay, I'm probably richer in my
Nice.
miles than my cash. So
Wow.
so
I would imagine.
yeah, so very few people actually know this. Maybe I'll share for the first time. I actually through my accumulation of points and miles, I go to high end SIA launcher quite often because
Very
of
good.
this. But anyway, thanks to Chris.
Yeah, and also that's also the purpose I started YouTube, because I myself know all the knowledge. So, how do other people benefit from the same knowledge? So that's very similar to 1M65 as well, right? You own self know, maybe you own self benefit, but if you benefit the wider audience, then I think there's a greater purpose in our sharing. Yeah, which is why we do YouTube as a form of content, right? So coming back to today's topic, we want to talk about millionaire secrets, because we all know that Mr. Loo started the 1M65 movement really to create more millionaires in Singapore. And I think I'm also, very interested in other millionaires' journey. And I also want to learn from them, because it's not like you reach your first million, then that's the end game, because there's so much more ahead. And don't think that just because you reach your first million, you are a big shot, because there are so many more multi-millionaires and even billionaires ahead of you. So, Mr. Lu, I really want to ask you, on your first journey to $1 million, was it painful or not? And how did you actually build it back in your time?
Okay, so Chris, may I know how old are you right now?
I'm 34 this year.
Okay, so somewhere slightly older than you, then I crossed a million. Yeah, in my net worth. So when I was 10 years younger than you are right now, uh, I just graduated, and I was very excited to conquer the world. And I've decided I'll climb corporate ladders. I'll do everything as right. I'll invest well and everything, right? Uh, and that was then when I was humbled terribly by the Asia financial crisis. I share a lot about this story. And that was where I decided that I have a serious lack of knowledge despite being an economist by training. I came to realize that investment and financial know-how is very different from economics. So that was how I humble myself, and I start from the scratch, right? Having lost almost everything, then I start all over again. And I came to realize how important financial know-how is. And once you get financial knowledge, this is the biggest investment I have. Okay, so the biggest investment is really financial education, financial knowledge. And if you get that right, the rest will come in gradually. And that was where things just follow up smoothly. My wife and I were very frugal, very hardworking, and we invest quite a lot. And I gradually grew our net worth. I think around my guess, I really can't remember. I need to understand that in a few days' time, I'm 53 years old. So you don't remember even what you eat 2 days ago, let alone 20, 30 years ago. But somewhere around that line is when I first crossed my first million in net worth. Of course, that includes everything. So it's a little bit play cheat. Some people say 1 million must have 1 million in cash. Okay. And so I've decided that I'm not going to be able to reach this $1 million in cash at that point of time. But holding $1 million of cash is also quite a lousy strategy, because money can't
Yes.
grow. Yeah. So anyway, so around then I crossed it. So a lot of people say I want to hit 1 million by 28 years old, 1 million by 30 years old. I didn't. I was quite later in that. And even that is a bit cheating. You include your CPF, you include your whatever is your house, and I only have HDB, not that I have anything else. A bit of finance and everything, right? So I combined me and my wife together. We crossed 1 million. So to be frank, at that point of time, in personal net worth, I haven't crossed $1 million yet or so. But we pool, because very difficult to separate asset. So
Correct.
maybe a pool asset is about 1 million. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, maybe I think I have a question now, because there are a lot of people in this chat also working towards their first million, and sometimes they over focus on the investing part, right? Like in stock markets, in bonds, or whatever they invest in. What would you say is the biggest contributor to your first 1M or even half a million? Is it really from the earning power, or is it through like passive investing or other stuff that we haven't explored?
No, I think that's a fantastic question. I would like to be naggy. I know I reached an old age. Last time when I was old, when I was young at your age, I look at my father and the older people. I say, why they keep repeating themselves? Now I understand why they do that, because I start doing that already. So the first thing I need to repeat itself is the first biggest investment is financial knowledge. Okay, investment knowledge. Now, investment knowledge does not necessarily mean how to invest only, right? It's
Correct.
financial literacy, right? I was lucky I met Mr. So Chin Hing, and I was very proud to have met him. He was my financial mentor for 20 years, and he still is. Okay, he probably teach me less nowadays, but he still do. And that was my biggest 4D, my biggest total to meet him, right? And that was where he taught me all the basics. Okay, and a few in a breath, the first thing we take care of is our insurance. That was where he taught me that, apart from term insurance and maybe some hospitalization insurance, don't touch any other kind of insurance. And then, when you look at your investments, like what you say, don't just look at stocks, for example, right? You look
Correct.
at bonds, you look at your CPF, you look at housing, and if you have any businesses, you look at that as well, and look at it 360 degrees. Okay, and you are absolutely right. In the early years, okay, probably my biggest jackpot was Singtel shares. So that is actually part of my salary in that sense. So my salary was then, of course, in cash, as in monthly salary, and then there's a very decent part of it. There's a bonus, and a very substantial part of it as shares. So that time I was a director in Singtel, so we do get paid a substantial part of our bonus in shares, and that share portion actually was quite substantial. So in a nutshell, yes, that was really through more hard work than the returns and investment, which come much later.
Agree. Yeah, I also want to add on to what Mr. Loo said, right? Like a lot of people, they really focus on investment returns, how much their stocks are giving them in a very short term. But I think when you're younger, when you just graduate from university, the really the biggest skill is to work on yourself, your personal growth. And investing doesn't have to be in equities. It could be in your job, your career, your business. Can you work on your next position, your next promotion? Can you work on something on the side that could generate extra income, like a side hustle? So I think instead of just zooming in into equities and stock market, right? Can you invest in yourself, because you are your biggest assets? What skills do you have to leverage on? And like Mr. Loo, what he did, right? He did very well in his career. He got directorship and also got equity from the company. And also for myself, because I was in a US MNC, so we had like company ESPP. So when I joined the company, I read up on ESPP. Then I thought, it was a really good deal. It's a very big discount off the market price of the shares, ma. So it's like 包价 sure win, ma. So must subscribe, right? Then that's when I learned. Then I allocate a bit of portion to ESPP. So that also helped when the company grew. Then you also get paid in terms of the shares, lah. So I think when we are younger, we tend to focus too much on all the shiny objects like stocks, crypto, all this very shiny stuff. But those things are those that you cannot really control. You cannot control the market. But what you can control is your own skills and your own training, what you can do, right? What do you have to say to that, Mr. Lu, to the current youngsters?
I think you are absolutely spot on. That if I look into my life, there is a lot of the way of the turtle. That means things actually grow very, very slowly, miserably slowly, and that is not the culture of today. Everybody wants to be rich very fast, right? I
Yes.
think I'm quite well to do right now. The curve goes like this, but it's on the later years, right? Here in the beginning, maybe up to my 40s, it was very slow, no, very, very slow, very miserable.
Likewise.
And you just got to, you just got to just have the faith to hold on. So you're absolutely right, Chris, that the initial years of ascent is very slow. But I would say that a lot of people just want to be rich very fast. You can be, but unlikely you'll be in a path of investments.
Correct. Yeah. Also for myself, my first 300K of investments, a lot is just anyhow invest, right? Because you don't really understand the market. Like what goes up, you go and buy. Then you go and follow what other people say in the internet. Then you get burned. So you cross a phase where you realize, hey, I cannot do this. Okay, I need to really wake up. Okay, and that's when I also discover CPF and investing in dollar cost average in the index funds, which is very similar to what Mr. Loo is sharing on his channel. And because I realized that I'm really not a great stock picker, okay, despite how I thought I would be. And some of you in the chat, you all may think you all are very good stock pickers also, which I don't deny. There are some people that are very good, but based on statistics, most people will not be. So my approach to my audience, I'm not sure for Mr. Loo audience, is that I always preach, you invest on the side passively, like in an index fund. You let it run by itself, you dollar cost average. Okay, but you own self focus on your personal growth, your income, and your skills that you can leverage on. So you build higher income so that you can pump more money in the stock market, then increase your AUM, assets under management. Yeah, that's when I start to differ from Mr. Loo, because I focus a lot on DCA. I believe in DCA because of the automated approach. But Mr. Loo, he believes in crash buying and does not really believe in DCA. So that is when we start to differ a bit. Mr. Loo, you want to explain about your crash buying versus DCA stuff?
Okay, I think there are many roads that leads to Rome. I think we need to reach there first. I've met people who become very rich in very unusual way. Okay, so I've met a lot of people who became rich in businesses, and their paths are very different. I know of a businessman who went over to a country called Myanmar, and and managed to penetrate Myanmar at a time when nobody knows how to do it. For example, he got very rich because he was the only person who dared to go there. Okay, I've known of people who go to Malaysia, for example, and in the early years doesn't know anything, hardly educated, but the only thing he knows is to buy land and cultivate land, right? And they became very well to do as well. And there are people who, loads of people in Singapore, because of early years, no ABSD whatsoever, they invest a lot of money into property and they become very rich as well. So I probably is the only boring person that actually grew my wealth through CPF. And at one point in time, nobody believes in it, right? So, and that's why how the 1 in 6 5 movement came about. And today, I think it's gone mainstream, so I don't need to defend why CPF is a good source of growing wealth. But after we realized that there are many different paths that will reach financial well-to-do and make you very rich in different forms and shape. Then we start forming our own strategy. Some of them are suitable for myself. Some of them are suitable for other people. And I came to realize that my persona, my personality is very similar to a large part of Singapore. I'm not saying all, okay, a large part of Singapore. And I'm a very typical Singaporean, right? Speak very good Singlish, use of Hokkien vulgarity is amazing. Eat local food, stay in HDB, have the same struggles I have with Singaporean. Like to spit saliva in the early years by the road. I'm just saying that I'm very Singaporean, okay? And I realized that a large part of Singaporeans doesn't know how to invest, okay? And I like to pick a strategy that I think is suitable for myself and a large part of Singapore. And I believe that a large part of Singaporeans are like me, right? Very conservative, very kiasi, very kiasu, right? And we are very we're not big risk takers. So as a result, I like to play safe. That means I like to play very safe. So how do I make sure very safe, right? CPF is 保价, right? I think by now nobody will deny me. CPF is nearly 保价, not 100%, but very 保价. Then on top of that, I overlay with a globally diversified index. I don't pick stock like you because I don't know how to pick stock like you. So despite me being a trained financial person, I really don't know how to pick stock. deciding between dollar cost averaging and crash buying, I decided that crash buying is a safer approach in making money than DCA, right? DCA subject yourself to emotional upswings regularly. For me, crash buying only subject yourself to an intensive emotional decision once every few years. And it's a very short period of time that I have to make a emotional decision. But this year, I'm going to make a decision every month. Even though if I automate it back on my mind, I know that that money is going to go in somewhere. I have the right to stop it or to put in some more. So I've decided that what is suitable for me, given my conservative nature and my kiasi nature, is to buy crash buy. Because if you manage to crash buy, you sure make money, right? If you buy in a crash, how you lose money, right? This year you still could possibly lose money if you DC in the wrong item. But you buy in a crash, I think is unlikely. So that's what is suitable for me, which I deem very suitable for a large part of Singapore as well. So that's a long story to a short question.
Nice. I think I have a follow-up question to this, because after you do crash buying, you wait for a long time until it start to have some signals of a crashing point that you want to buy in again. So what happens to the cash allocation during this point in time? Because it's like idle, right? What do you do with it?
Now, a lot of people are expecting Mr. Loo to have some some magic answer to that. The frank truth is I just put it in a bank. Okay,
Okay.
I just put in a bank. I just leave it there. I don't even put it into fixed D until recently. I don't put it in fixed D. I don't put it in any special place because I'm ready to deploy. A lot of people say, "What a waste!" In fact, I was quoted by a very shrewd investor as well. He's many years older than me. He said, "What the hell are you putting so much money, in a bank?" But the truth is, because I'm ready to deploy, and I'll talk about really deploy in a very abstract way, but really deploy, so it must be very liquid, right? But recently, I came to realize that that is extremely dangerous because of scams.
Okay,
Because of
scams.
scams. So,
Okay.
so I've changed my perspective. So now I lock up like 90, I don't know, maybe 98%, 99% of all my cash in money lock feature, mostly in very tight fixed D money fund or things like that scammers have unless they love scam me and I forced to they love scam me until I fix it out myself. They try to do it on me, there's no chance. There's no chance.
Wow. But do you recognize that by doing so, right, you are also like having a cash drag because all this cash is not earning anything? Do you feel like because some other people, they will say you crash buy a portion and then you DCA the remaining portion. So is that a strategy that you have ever considered, or why did you not take it up?
Well, the truth is that I have a lot of needs for cash. It's not just a lot of people. Until recently, a lot of people have this impression of me that I retired and just sit there play shares. Okay, a lot of people have this notion that or sit there play cash or just take money from CPF and keep forgetting I'm not even 55 yet. But the truth of the matter is that only recently then I start to be more public about my business ventures, that I'm actually more an entrepreneur than an investor. So in my entrepreneurial endeavors, we need a lot of cash. Okay, and those cash are needed to roll businesses, to turn to turn inventory around, and to pay for staff payroll and things like that. So it's so the demand for cash is quite high, and there's also opportunity that comes around that require the entrepreneur to make a very big decision at a point of time. So on. So I my need for cash is almost unpredictable. So putting money in a lockup fashion, okay, versus missing those opportunity and you know and just getting very little returns. I don't think I after close to 10 years of entrepreneurship, I don't think that's a big deal for the little bit of return I can get by putting in some money funds or things like that.
Yeah, interesting you spoke about entrepreneurship, because remember we had tea session like 3 years ago, and then I asked you, should I like incorporate my company and start a business? And then after a tea session with you, then yes, I went on to start this business, Incorporated. So I also need to thank you, like my business spark mentor, because I didn't have the vision to, grow until this big. And yeah, look where we are now, like 3 years later. And yeah, so thank you for that. I think I want to move on.
Share. Yeah.
Okay. I think I want to move on to the second part where, after reaching the first million, because that's when you start to look at your assets are quite substantial, sizable. How do you actually allocate the assets? Because you cannot, once you have $1 million portfolio, you cannot be like all in stock market, right? There needs to be some form of diversification and how you allocate the assets. So would you mind sharing like how do you see like your first M? How should you allocate across different types of assets?
Well, it really is very individual. First of all, when you say first M, different people have different definition of first M, and different people have different allocation of their first M. A lot of times when you have 1M, it's highly concentrated on one asset. Okay, it's not like, let's say you got 10M or something like that, or 100M, right? Generally, that will be quite diversified. Where 1M Singapore is pretty concentrated in one, I would say, in one asset. So a lot of people, their first M, I would say for maybe 50% or more people, quite a substantial part of it will be in their property. Okay, in Singapore, right? Because the property prices are so high and things like that, and it's gone up quite a lot. So I would say that their first M, not much allocation needs to be done, because I would presume that quite a lot of it is in uncontrollably in their property. Quite a lot of it is stuck in their CPF, okay? And the CPF have 3 accounts, and a substantial part of it will be locked up in a place where you can't touch anyway. So only thing you can touch is the OA, and a decent sum will be in cash. I think that will be most people's case, right? I cannot put a number. I would imagine half of it in property, maybe another 30% of it in CPF, of which within it only maybe about a third of it can be used, and the remaining part of it in cash. I think that would be the first $1 million for most Singaporean. Unless you have an entrepreneurial path, that could be different. In those circumstances, actually, there's not much planning needs to be done, except that you probably need to keep the first thing you do is to make sure, number one, which is the first lesson I was taught, make sure you got enough to tide you over in a catastrophic event. That means you buy term insurance, okay? Cover yourself adequately with term insurance. And I think for a lot of people, just buy the SAF, MHA and SAF one. I think that's I think the cheapest around, okay? Then after that, for the rest of it, you probably want to keep yourself 6 to 12 months of your mortgage payments in your CPF OA, because that one you can't touch most of it anyway. So let's say HDB, nowadays HDB BTO, them frighteningly expensive. Okay, so yeah, you just got your BTO, what, 2 years ago or 1 year ago?
I applied like 6 years ago, but I only moved in 1 year ago.
Okay, so
6 years ago, the prices were still okay.
So first of all, congratulations. Okay,
thank you.
But if you're like Kate Loo, my daughter right now, the HDB 4-room flat is as expensive as mine. They don't know yet, because but they are expecting it to be around 650 to 700K for a 4-room flat. Now 4-room flat, it's I think it's pretty substantial. So a lot of their OA has to be reserved for a rainy day. Okay, so I imagine that that will really take up a substantial part of their OA already. So that remains cash is where you could exercise some wisdom in management. So in your first $1 million, maybe your cash is where you could possibly deploy in globally diversified index. Okay, whether through DCA or through crash buying, you can decide which is the best to deploy. But I think the first $1 million for, I would say 90% of people will be in a spread like this.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because like the first million, like there is going to be some substantial asset that grew so fast that suddenly it compounds to a size then suddenly 1 million already. Maybe you also ride the market trend up. Then for some others, it may be a business sale, like they sold away their business equity, like the founders exit lah. Then suddenly they become multi-millionaire or something like that. Yeah, so the first million, actually a lot is also depend on the timing and luck lah. Okay, other than your investing skills and your earning power skills, right? I think the next part I want to go on is the beyond your first million, because you mentioned like the first million, there's nothing much to allocate. Like, when do you actually start to take a serious look on your asset allocation? Like, how many million is enough, especially in a place like Singapore? Then that's when you start, I have too much allocation to this asset already. I need to diversify out. Like, I need to, move it out to somewhere.
Okay, a lot of people have a lot of aspiration for a better life, and with that, I think there are two big things they like to buy. Number one is a very nice private house, and number two is a very nice car. Okay, and if you have either of these aspiration, and the minute you slap your money into this, again, nothing much left to allocate. Okay, that's the unfortunate truth. Because these two wipes out quite a substantial part of it. Now, for people like me who neither takes pleasure in high-end expensive condominium or landed house, nor take pleasure in expensive cars, then the question of allocation will come in. Okay, that's where I say recently when I say you should either you or me or both of us will get invited to drink coffee with MAS.
Yeah.
So
nowadays we need to be very careful, especially after last week.
So I have very kind people that actually called me and warn me to follow certain rules whatsoever. I have in fact today someone in the compliance line that shared with me what I should do and what should I say. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point I'm getting at is that, let's say you do have an allocation need. Then for me, it's very clear. I look at what I have. I have two approach. One approach is what I did when I was around your age, okay, and slightly older. And the second approach is something that Chris Tan, okay, not Chris Chong, but Chris Tan from Providence taught me. But let's talk about what I did first. So in my case, I was very clear. I like to be an entrepreneur. So somewhere around 35 to 40 years old, I was gearing towards there already. So I accumulate cash. I did little hustle on the side with my wife, and I was also very clear what I don't need. For example, I don't need a big house. I don't want to be stuck in a corporate job forever. I like to have what you call to hell with you, boss money. They call it
FU money.
Yeah, but try not to use that terrible word before I get
freedom
banned.
Money.
Freedom money.
You can call it freedom money.
So I like to have that buys me my freedom from corporate chains and things like that. So I was viciously or aggressively accumulating that wealth for that purpose. That I know what I want to do and is to become an entrepreneur. Okay, so that's where I accumulate a lot of spares, because at that point in time, me and my wife decided we're going to go into entrepreneurship. The children must not be at risk. Okay, so we cut back a lot on the luxuries of life. At one point in time, I must confess that we had two cars. My wife had a car and I have a car. It's not that we're trying to be luxurious, but we had a need for two cars, because I had my corporate car, and the company paid part of it, and then she had a car, and also her company paid part of it. So we had two cars, and then we reduced that to one. Okay, and up to today we still have one. And to be clear, we're very clear that I was racing towards freedom from corporate life and venture entrepreneurship. So that was what I was accumulating wealth to buy the freedom. And of course, eventually the day come that I resigned from Singtel and became an entrepreneur. And from that day onwards, I never looked back. So the allocation then was for that purpose. Now, what was very clear to me, my CPF has the most flexibility, because CPF cannot be used for entrepreneurship. So I heavily invested my CPF into the SA account, And whatever spares it is later I deploy into S&P 5 and things like that. My SRS was free as well. Cash, a lot of it went to businesses, and only at the later years that I realized I got spare cash, then I start deploying cash into other risky investments and things like that.
Nice. Okay, so you had
I was
carry on?
about to say
Or
that there's another approach I won't elaborate too much is in a case of what Chris Tan say that your life goal must drive your financial goal, which I think is yeah. So if you decide your life goal is to, in this case, is to buy experiences with family, then you only need to make enough to make that happen, right? So in my case I was subtly doing that without realizing that I was trying to pursue entrepreneurial passion, and my financial goal was driving towards that. Okay, but I couldn't articulate it that well. So that was what it is.
okay, yeah. With regards to that, I also want to share maybe my motto lah. That's why I always mention in my live stream. Like, to my viewers who watch my live stream, they will know that, okay, so everyone who is born in this world, there is a starting point, right? That's when you're born, and then there's an ending point, which is your death. So when you are born in this world, you bring in nothing, and when you go away from this world, you leave this world with nothing. So whatever is in the middle, right, that is a process, and how you want this process to be differs from people to people. Some may want a very luxurious life, some may be very happy with a simple life. Okay, but we are not here to judge who is better, whether they are having a luxurious or simple life. What is more important is that you don't regret this process, because everyone will be the same at the end of the day, right? How you want to live this life. That's why I always say, for my own point of view, I would say go and increase your EXP. In gaming, we call that EXP, right? Gain experience points. So the more experience you gain, things that you haven't done in the first time, maybe you haven't flew business class before, that's why you have to learn some mouse strategy. And then maybe you've done it once, then you can say that, hey, maybe that's not a life that I want to lead. I'm fully comfortable in flying economy and budget. And that's okay, right? Because you have to discover that there are things in this world that you would like, and there are things that in this world that you won't like. So I think it's always about increasing your quantity of experiences. Then after eliminating those that you don't like, then you can focus on the quality. Yeah, that's what I always say to my live stream viewers, lah, Mr. Loo.
Very good. Okay, and of course, money is not everything. Wealth is not everything. We live life for certain purposes, and make sure that that your financial goal hit towards that goal. Right? It may, for some people, it may be material wealth, certain pleasures in life, and whatever gives you that pleasure. Right? Some people, even flaunting it can be a goal. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Some people like it as well, and I cannot judge you. And there are some people who do charity, and that's very noble, and so on, right? So I think it's important that whatever our life goal may be, may your financial goal drive towards that direction.
Thank you for sharing. And I also want to share a bit, advertise for Mr. Loo, because he at his age now, he's also running financial mastery and AI courses at his age, Like, people his age already thinking of how to retire, but he's always full of energy, thinking of enabling his viewers and audience to learn. Because at his age, he's not afraid to learn, He's not like 20-something, 30-something like us who really need to learn. He's already comfortable financially, but he still learn, and he also gives back to the society. So I've already signed up for AI course with Mr. Loo. So you may also see me in the AI course session. Yeah.
I'm humble.
Yeah, because I myself realized that sometimes I thought I knew, but then there is so much more things that I don't know. Then if I can, reduce my ignorance level, I think be more open-minded that, okay, there are some things that you definitely would not know, and you won't even know that you don't know until you learn from people who already know. So that's what I think lah. You should always learn from people who are better than you. You will never be perfect in anything, even if you think you are that good.
Okay, I'll just say this. I have I'm actually by nature an entrepreneur. Now, a lot of people tend to look at me like I'm Mr. CPF. I only know how to invest in CPF, whatever. That part, I tell you what I'm really good at, okay? I'm really good at leeching the wisdom of everybody, sucking the brain juice out of everybody. I really have an eye for talent. So when I saw Mr. So Chin Heng 20 over years ago, I realized that his wisdom is amazing. So I sucked the brain juice out of him. And what I'm really good at is spitting it out, in a way that everybody understands. We call that marketing. So actually, I got no wisdom of my own. So all the smart thing I have are all taught by Mr. So Chin Heng, including the CPF knowledge. And one fine day, his son was running a charity event, and in that charity event, we decided to teach financial mastery course, and we were trying to raise funds for the people in Myanmar who are suffering. And after that, there wasn't enough seat. There was a 100 people seat, and the demand was, I don't know, it was very, very large. So after that charity event, I said I don't want to do anymore, but there was so much request that we said, okay, why don't we do another one? So that's how this thing came about. As for the AI one, I realized that young people like you won't understand this. Uncle, auntie like us suffer very badly in technology regression versus the young people. And I was trying very hard. And AI is something I cannot teach over the internet in a YouTube channel easily. I had, again, very good fortune that I had a co-founder in an AI business. He's a genius in this area. I said, why don't I run a course that can help uncle and aunties, not young smart people like you guys, to level ourselves up, right? And I think even Jian Ming said that the finance and AI course was wonderful. I gained a lot of precious knowledge from Mr. Lucas. So those courses were taking advantage of a lot of wise, smart people opportunistically, and educating our community who are really very far behind, including myself, right? So I think it's just opportunistic in this nature. Will I be able to do this forever? I don't think so. But now when the need is there and I find the right person, I'm just a middleman connecting everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting, because I myself also don't know a lot of things, right? Like when I go to the internet, I read up. So when I read up, this kind of things, nobody put it in video content before. So that's how my YouTube channel started. I just collect this knowledge I learned quite good. I apply. Then everything I collate together, put in a video form. Then that's how the YouTube channel was born. So it's not like we are the originator of the knowledge. The knowledge is out there on the internet, but someone needs to collate and restructure it and illustrate it and then deliver to the viewers, right? So this is our role as a content creator. We are not like scientists, Nobel Peace Prize people. We are just like marketer, educator, whatever some people would say. And coming back to this on course, right? Because I also started my second business called Solo Biz. And this is exactly the reason, because I learned from Mr. Loo some business knowledge that I know is quite niche one. No one out there on the internet will tell you this, because Mr. Loo, you also know when you talk about entrepreneurship, no one listen, no one come in, because the market is so small, right? But I want to do this as a second business is because like there is really a very small group out there, especially in this very challenging climate, people thinking of starting their side hustle and scaling it up to a business, right? That's why I also launched my own Shift online course by Solo Biz. I also want to help people who are back then 3 years ago, like me, don't know what is business, how to do all that stuff, so many things. No one teach them one, like they really need some guidance, some help. And that's where we have this community started by Solo Biz. Yeah, so Solo Biz is also nothing original. Everything can find on the internet, but it is so difficult to find business knowledge on the internet, because even someone like Mr. Loo share, the target audience is just very, very small. So we really hope that more people start their entrepreneurship journey in their business and also create more jobs. Singaporeans, you all want more jobs, right? So you'll need more business owners and more entrepreneurs. And by you starting a company, you are also giving out a vacancy for someone else, maybe fresh grad, to take over your place in the corporate role. So I think more business owners, more companies is a better trend for Singapore. That's why I started that business.
Very good. And I would like to encourage everybody, especially young people like Chris and many people, in your I think fresh grads should not start their businesses, but I think
Of
people in
course.
their late 20s and maybe mid 30s, I think that's a wonderful age to try to venture into business. I was a late entrepreneur in 40 plus. I seriously think it was too late, but I think for young people, I think entrepreneurship is a very exciting journey and a path to uh, to pursue as well.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, right, I think we covered our main points. We are open for Q&A, whether you want to ask us in CPF, financial, investing, and whatnot. Yeah, rarely you get to see Mr. Loo on my channel, and rarely you get to see me on his channel, because this is the first time we are doing a collaboration between both channels. We are also not sure if it will work. So yeah, shoot your questions right away. And I'm very sure, Mr. Loo, your community have so many questions for you always. Like, Mr. Loo, I can also teach you. You can show the comment right here
And
in
how
our
to do that?
StreamYard. Yeah, I think in your StreamYard, right, as long as you are the owner, you can just, scroll over to the comment and then it can show the comment. But sometimes I know your questions come very fast. So you may not be in time to, flash the comment.
Okay, are you
Yeah.
clicking it or I'm clicking it?
Right now I'm clicking it, but next time when you start in your live stream, either later or tomorrow, you go and try. You just click
Just
the
click
show
it.
comment.
I
Yeah.
see. Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Wow.
You
So
know why or
because
not? Because
I told
sometimes,
you I always learn this kind of whiz bang from bells and whistles from Chris, right? He has taught me for many years. Yeah. So I really appreciate him teaching me all this.
yeah, and also Mr. Wu, next time I do this with you. Next time you so good can do this with other people. You invite them to your live stream. Then look nicer,
Okay, thank
right?
you. I really appreciate it. How does your video become so clear and mine? So I'm just using a MacBook, and how do your video become so clear?
Oh, there's a setting one. You need to change it to 1080p high definition. I see yours is always 720p. You are on a paid plan, you should be able to do it on the settings.
Okay, see, ladies and gentlemen, got to learn from young people, man. I'm not shy to learn from you. Thanks a lot, right? I mean, I can share some some other knowledge, but this one, I learned a lot of new things. Yeah, thank you.
And one thing I respect about Mr. Wu, he's not afraid to ask. He like to ask me all this technicality question, and then I'm ready to answer him, because I see, Mr. Lu need help from me. Quite honored to. Then I also learn from him, like his Gamma for the presentation. I also use. I also didn't know got this app that I go and use.
I
Then
learned
yesterday
from
he
young
was
people
running.
also.
Yeah. So we are just like referring other people to educate each other. That everyone learn together, lah. Correct.
Okay, maybe I ask a quick question, and I can also get Chris' view as well, which is GT. Mr. Lu, any views or impact on a possible government shutdown on the market? I'll give my view, and then of course Chris can chip in as well. But my view is that the government can never shut down US. Yeah, so I think it's just becoming noise, and actually a government shutdown will cause some rumbling. It may not be necessarily bad if there's a bit letting go of a lot of fats in the government, right? But anyway, okay, over to you, Chris.
Okay, I also don't think it's possible. Like, this year itself, we've seen so many news that first time come out one, like tariff, all that, and DeepSeek trying to overtake OpenAI or whatever. All that become like noise, Like after a few months, nobody really talks about it. Do you remember that last year we had the Japan carry trade in August, and then everyone was like freaking out. No one is talking about it anymore. It's become a non-issue. So there will be more major news that pass this news again. And I'm very sure the US will figure it themselves out as of the current economy.
I think there's a lot of people who says that the US is in deep trouble. The US this, US that. I hear it all the time. I'll just repeat what I always say, that the last 100 years, the globally diversified index such as the S&P 500 or some other global diversified has always been an uptrend. It must stop at the year these few years that I invest in. I think I must be sway until cannot sway for that to happen. Okay, I doubt. I know sometimes investment have a bit of luck, but for the luck to stop exactly in the last 100 years to happen, and must stop exactly at a time in my generation, I think it's going to be tough. Yeah.
Mr. Loo, someone said your fruits will look too tempting if you use 10 ATP.
Yes, okay. we have a one. I really like the job of selling fruits, because I get to eat and live stream. So I think I probably make more money. Maybe try to pretend to be a financial guru, teaching people how to make money through buy sell, the kind of thing. But the one that bring me no joy, and a bit scare me also. Okay, so but fruits is something that is really wonderful. So I enjoy the part of the work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think this question regards to IBKRA. Yeah. So IBKRA is the main broker that I use, which is why if you scan my QR code above my head, right, it will lead you to IBKRA. Then you can join for free lah. Okay. That is just a very small support to creators like us who live stream in the middle of the weekday night, foregoing our rest, because it's not easy for me already. Can you imagine Mr. Loo every night go live stream in the wee hours when you all are preparing to sleep? So you all can also scan his QR code to join his 1M65 YouTube channel if you haven't. There's lots of knowledge there. Yeah, so a little bit of support helps us creators because we don't really ask money from you all unless you all buy what we refer. So it's just a very small support that you can show.
Okay, I don't have such a business. However, I do sell fruits, which is probably fruits and some other stuff, which is something different. And I don't think any other financial YouTubers do the same thing as me. So I just you might find it strange and unusual, but I enjoy the part of the work.
Yeah, that reminds me, Mr. Loo, recently I start selling electronics and appliance for my home renovation, because I also must recommend things I use in my own home. So it's like credible one. I already buy already. Then like the floor, the tile, there's in between called epoxy grout. So they remove the old cement grout, then you put in epoxy, then you can maintain it very pristine condition. Then a lot of people also watch and say, this is the idea they never thought before. So I become like household influencer already.
Why not?
Other than
right?
finance.
I mean, you learn new things, share people, you get some money of it. Why not? I think it's a very positive thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. Any comments about gold, Mr. Loo? Hit new high. Is it going to go up further?
Wow, gold is something that's really unbelievable, I must say. And I think it's really a reflection of the uncertain nature of our era. And because it's very uncertain and it's very turbulent, and this war that doesn't seem to end, so gold is going up largely because of all this. I think behind this is not my wife buying this kind of gold jewelry and chain and all this. I think the largest driving factor is central banks are buying gold in a big, massive way. So I think that is that itself is one of the driving force, and because they are doing that, they drive other people to buy as well. So until a day we can have some peace, some stability, less of Donald Trump, Israel bringing some peace into leaving Gaza in peace, hopefully, and Russia coming to an end with the costly war that they are having with Ukraine. When all this thing ends, I think gold will stop its crazy ascent. But if that don't happen, I think gold will continue to be on this path upwards.
Yeah. So despite me having a little bit of exposure to gold, I don't really have the outlook, the macro of it. I just use it as a form of diversification of assets. So it's just part of my asset allocation. But if you ask me the macro thing, I really don't have any insight. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to answer the question by Johnson. Johnson about AI bubble. So Johnson asked about this question, the AI bubble. I would say this: eventually, if the trajectory continue this way, there will be a bubble. Okay, there will be a bubble, but the nature of a bubble is that you can't tell it's a bubble, right? That's why it's called a bubble. And if I were to look at 2001, 2001 bubble bursting, and I look back and I do a lot of study of economic history. The bull run started in 1997, 96. So it's a 4-year bull run. Now AI accelerate at an insane pace, much faster than the dot-com, and I think that the nature of both the dot-com bubble and AI bubble is two different nature. In the world of the AI bubble, there's massive amount of profits, man. Massive amount of profit. I can't believe it. Now today, I think OpenAI just came up with some numbers. They are bleeding, but they're not bleeding massively. In my terminology, I don't think they are bleeding massively. I think their first quarter numbers, they make $4 billion revenue, very fast for a very small company that runs so fast. They burn about $2 billion in cash. You may say, "Why is a lot of money?" That's not a lot of money in Silicon Valley terms. Okay, so I don't, and I think they could easily turn profitable in maybe 2 or 3 years. And I think Silicon Valley has a lot of cash for them to burn. What I'm sure is that many of the AI company will burst, and only a few will survive. Okay, so in the world of AI right now, I will bet on the winners. That means that right now we have got so many. We got Open AI, which is ChatGPT. We got Meta. We got Microsoft one. We got DeepSeek. We got clones of DeepSeek. So many, right? I'm betting that out of this whole thing, only 1 or 2 will survive. Okay, so many will die and burn the big hole in the company. And I think the winners are going to be in a gold rush. The winners are largely two types of winners. The one company that do very well, or one or two company, and the people who sell the spade in the gold rush. The people who sell the spade. Okay, so there will be Nvidia, there will be Broadcom, and there will be companies such as all the data centers and so on. So it's not the AI company itself that will make money. I don't think they will make money easily, but I think those peripheral companies that support them, I think they'll make shit lot of money.
Yeah, and also just to highlight the difference between an AI bubble versus the dot-com bubble. Back then, the dot-com bubble, a lot of companies are not making money. They are not even profitable. But right now, in this AI economy, so many companies are deriving massive profits. And at the same time, there are still so many people who are doubtful about AI. So they kind of like think AI is a scam, and they don't believe that AI will take over. It's just a fad, just like NFTs back 2 years ago or something. And if you don't worry for AI, this AI thing is going to come after you. AI is not going to replace humans, but AI will replace those who are not accustomed to using AI. So AI is like a knife, a gun. If you don't know how to wield it, other people who know how to use it is going to take over your position. Okay, so be very certain about it. This future is going to become AI infused with whatever jobs that you are having right now.
Okay. Yep. If I'll ask, but I would like to answer one question about the mindset young people must have in order to be entrepreneur. And next, I will cover the question on the Howard Marks point. But first of all, Nixon, well, you have a very interesting name, Nixon, is that I think in order to be an entrepreneur, you must be driven by passion. Okay, passion. Now, you must have a burning passion to be an entrepreneur. All the successful entrepreneur that I've seen, they have some insane passion for something. You may have insane passion towards a business, towards entrepreneurship itself, or interested in I don't know, baking cookies, or flying, selling planes, or whatever. I've seen them all. The successful one have this burning passion, and I must say that without this, don't even try to be one, because the journey of an entrepreneurship is actually very tough. Okay, the loss of security, the financial security, the swings of ups and downs of economic cycles and all this is pretty unbearable if you don't have a burning passion to counter it. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I have a lot to say for this, man. Because I think the number one thing that young people must have is guts or courage. Okay, because number one, you must have the guts to live on an unstable income, because entrepreneurship is a difficult route. You don't know whether your next month your cash flow coming in is enough to pay your salary or not, right? The other thing is that you need to have the guts to think outside of your box and open your mind, because many people in this world, they are quite close-minded one. They think whatever they have learned and grown throughout the adult years, right? They think that is the absolute truth. So they are not willing to open their mind and see that, there are other ways of making money. There are other ways of thinking that I have never thought about. Then I've been wrong my whole life. So you must have the guts to admit that at some point in time, you may be wrong about something. And it's time to relearn other skills and other parts of the knowledge of the world that, this actually works. And you need to jump out of the employee mindset, because employer and employee mindset, entrepreneur versus employee mindset is very different. Employee is just like, you're here to spend your time, 打发时间, every month paycheck come in. Entrepreneur, you really need to worry about the cash flow, the prospects, the business, the downside, the risk management, all these things. And you will never consider that as an employee. So you really must have the guts. Then with regards to passion, right? Passion cannot be the only driving force, because passion can only feed you up to a certain period. Like if 1 year, full 12 months, right, you have passion in doing your project, but it doesn't bring in money, okay, you will also feel dejected, and then slowly your passion will die down. Okay, I can assure you that a lot of people have very big goals, passionate, starting an F&B, cafe, restaurant, and whatnot. And then when they see the numbers all becoming red, losses coming up, then they cannot pay their employees, they cannot pay the rent. That's when their passion die down, Then, yeah, you really must have the guts to, aside from passion, you need to start to look at numbers really. And you need to be realistic about your goals of starting a business. It may not be as rosy as you think, that's all I can say about it.
I'll just wrap up with this statement that passion is a necessary but not sufficient condition, okay, with entrepreneurship. And a path for entrepreneur is very, very tough, super tough. I've done it again and again and again. Every journey is tough, right? There's no easy business. So, but however, you must have you must like that kind of journey, right? If not, the kind of journey will not be enjoyable. Okay.
Correct.
If you allow me, Chris, I take on the next question.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What's your view on Howard Marks commenting that S&P 500 is no longer profitable? While Chris was talking, I actually just double check whether Howard Marks actually said that. The answer is no, he never said that. But what he is saying is that the S&P 500 is expensive now, and it's probably no longer as maybe as rosy as it seems to be. So I agree that S&P 500 at this juncture, is probably on the expensive side. And time and time again, a correction will come, and I believe that it can easily go down by 10%, 20%. I don't know when that day. For sure, it will come, for sure. But as I said, I look at the last 100 years. Don't even you look at last 1 year, last 10 years. Every time it comes down, there's eventually there's upward path. And this is actually just simply the nature of global leading companies, and it's also a nature of mankind that we always do better and better and better, right? So what more with the top 500 companies of the world? So I would say that that Howard Marks never say that, and also take note, Howard Marks is more a not even a equities person, right? He's more a private debt person. So he's not into public equities. He's not into private equities. He's more into private debt. So his investment know-how is quite unique, and not many people can copy it. But there's one thing I do copy from him is that I don't know when a crash will come. I cannot predict the future. I can tell where I am now. Okay. So I think this is where his famous quotation is. He knows where he is now, And this is where I use that a lot in identifying crashes. I know where I am right now. So I had the privilege, just a little story for Chris. I have a privilege of meeting Kevin Learn Investing in 2022, exactly in the month of June or July. I think it's July. June. Okay. And I told him that I saw that the primary product prices were flattening. They were not rising anymore. And I told him that this crisis of inflation is coming to an end. I said, it's time to, I cannot tell in the whole group, whole wide world, because that would be inviting MES to drink coffee and get a whip from it. So I actually told him that I can see now that the inflation, the great inflation is coming to an end. So he looked at me with this skeptical face. I still remember, like, the guy. I still remember we in Paragon, actually. And it turned out I'm right? Just a month later or so. Now, what I'm trying to say is that I learned this from Howard Marks. Okay, I learned Howard Marks. He is the person who taught me where you cannot predict the future, but you can identify where you are right now. I think it's very important for us to identify where we are right now. Okay, so, and that's not just in finance, not just investment, also in life, also where we are right now, what we should be doing, right? Things like that.
Yeah, I think I have let's say I have a different reflection based on what you just said. Because let's not just talk about finance. People are always thinking about things outside of their control. Like they blame weather, they blame their locations, or whatever things that they cannot control. But they do not look at what are the things that they can control. Can you control, like, instead of spending time watching TV and Netflix, you go and learn more about your skills, and maybe you want to start a business, or you want to learn how to work on your next promotion, right? All these are things that you can control. But a lot of people blame it on things that they cannot control, like the stock market. Stock market is not something you can control, even though it's something that you can predict, right? So work on things that within your control, and with that, you can also build better skills, which is what Mr. Loo also mentioned. You are able to see what is the now. Currently, are you having a productive time on what you're doing on a Tuesday evening? If you're watching this live stream, you are having a productive evening, because that's when you listen to the wisdom of both of us, and then you can apply it to your life. But if you're just resting, chilling, that's fine also. But you need to be responsible for the actions that you take today, because that will have an impact on you in the future. So that's my reflection.
Okay, so for people just coming in my channel, Sister Christy, today we have got Chris Chong from Honey Money. He's a person I follow quite a lot as a fellow financial YouTuber as well, and I learned a lot from him, especially in the area of YouTubing. So this, and I strongly encourage everybody to follow his channel. He gives a lot of perspective. He's really very good in credit cards, identifying the opportunities in credit cards as well. So for those people, there's a lot of questions here. I don't know which one to pick. Maybe I'll pick a question for Chris. Chris, how long do you take to have a stream of stable income when you first started on your own?
Oh, how long? I think you're asking me based on my business, right? Okay, so in 2022, I was still in a full-time employment, so I still holding my job. But that's when I also start. I've been managing my YouTube channel for a year already, so it's like half, right? So I have a stable monthly income from my job, plus I'm also starting to work on my YouTube business. So there are like regular contracts, regular payouts. I try to see, this monthly payout on a yearly level, can it like at least match my company annual salary? Okay, so once it like hit, don't need to be 100% hit, but you are confident that once you leave your job, you can scale it up further, right? Maybe 1.5x or 2x it. I think that's a very strong signal that you can take it full time, because you don't have to quit your job and start a business right away without anything, because you will just be in a very panic mode. Okay, it is okay to start it as a side hustle first. Work on the proof of concept. So prove that there are customers already buying the service from you or the product from you. Then that is the proof of concept, right? That it works. You get your first 10, 20 customers. Then you start to work on the scalability. How can you scale it to sell it to more people, more clients, more customers, and also spread out the network, right? That's when you need to start scaling. And then at the point in time, you realize that, my corporate job is actually hindering my side hustle, because my daytime, I need to work on corporate. Then I don't have time to meet more clients, build more markets. Then I really need to leave the job so that I can scale up the business. That's when the scalability comes. So how long did I take? I think I took like 2 years of side hustle before I eventually quit my job and then focus on it full time. Yeah, that will answer the question.
No, I think the question about how to become millionaires and things like that. Let me repeat myself again. There are many paths that leads to Rome, and I literally spent a long time in Rome because I have a Italian business over there, and it's funny that the roads all literally leads to the Colosseum and maybe in around those area. I would just say that the path that I chosen was a more conservative one. That I worked in corporate jobs, did very well by working very hard and doing smart, and then and preparing myself for my next leap, which is entrepreneurship. So just to repeat myself, I actually prepared myself for many years to take that leap. So what I do is I don't take on heavy debts. I become very frugal. I stay in HDB, and I still stay in HDB. I have simple cars, one car eventually. I used to have 2 cars, but quite a lot of them are all sponsored by the companies. But later I've only got 1 car. I don't travel aggressively to expensive places. We eat normally in preparation of that dry powder so that I can take the leap of faith into entrepreneurial passions. Now, once that path happened, I know my failure rate is very high. So I was even prepared for 2 or 3 failures. So I've got little failures, they do, but the big one comes along, and then that propels me to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th venture as well. So the secret of it is to prepare yourself. Okay, prepare yourself for it. And be careful of chasing things that will get you locked up, especially incurring debts. Okay, of a restrictive nature. So I actually bought myself financial freedom to do what I want, and that was the secret of my my wealth. Okay, in short, becoming millionaire. And I've shared with everybody publicly about how I become multi-millionaire through my CPF, right? And that's a part of the journey that I was very public about. But as my own entrepreneurial passion, this is probably the first time I talk about it. I prepared myself for it, and the day when I'm ready, I had the dry powder to fire also into my entrepreneurial path.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that is very good sharing, because my path was quite similar, right? Like I wait for 2 years, I didn't like immediately quit my job, go and be this entrepreneur that, there are things that need to wait and be patient. And it may not be immediate. You may not see even the results in the first 3 years. But this kind of things compound and start to scale if you're in the right direction. They say, 努力最怕在错的方向, which means that hard work is only effective when it's at the right direction. If you are doing hard work at the wrong direction, then you need to go stun. You need to go astern, reverse, and then go to the right direction. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. So don't put hard work in a wrong direction where, it's just a waste of time. You need to first identify the direction, then go all in, focus fire. That's where your millions and compounding can start to work.
I would like to answer James' question. In the past, starting a business in Singapore is limited by a small market, and some had to go China, which can be very tough. Is it different today? I would say that Singapore small market is true if your business is very big. Okay, if your business is small, little SME, well, Singapore is much more than enough. Okay, unless you have got a unicorn dream that your business have to become a unicorn. Unicorn means a market cap of $1 billion, which very few businesses are. B, do you think can get me more ice and drink? Yeah. So I will just say this, that I think Singapore is a market that's big enough. I agree that businesses need to diversify to bigger markets as you grow. But for startups and things like that, Singapore is a very nice place to do, because for example, I give you logistics is a very easy settle. Singapore, left east to west and north to south is only 45 minutes or half an hour. That's very easy. Imagine you are in US or China, logistics you go all the way, right? And the right now in this current time and age, wow, with artificial intelligence, with online business, with all the tools that are available, I think doing business has never been easier. I didn't say it's easy, yeah. I think it's easier, or maybe I took it the other way, less difficult. Okay, it's less difficult than maybe 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Those days to set up a website cost you, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, to set a website is nearly free, for example, right? So I think the world is quite different, and I strongly encourage everybody, if you have entrepreneurial passions, and I say again, it is a necessary but not sufficient condition. But I think this will be a great time to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, you start business, it's not like in the old times, you need to rent a shop front, you need to rent an office. You can directly start an online business and start serving the worldwide clients online. You don't even have to serve Singapore-based clients. You can serve overseas clients if your skills are applicable to their market, right? So you don't just be limited to local market. Of course, everyone wants to start targeting local first, but maybe your skills are more applicable in the overseas market. You will never know, right? Yeah, so go and try it out lah. Like I say, you prove the concept first. Make sure you have your first 5 or 10 customers. Then you start to scale up. Then you will start to see the fruits of compounding in business.
For example, hold the line. You're talking about China logistics, super. I agree. I was there, but for example, right? Our Mao Sawang durian. Let's say it arrives at Guangzhou fresh. It's impossible to reach Xinjiang fresh, because it's law of physics. The things still have to travel. But in Singapore, from east to west, 45 minutes you reach there already, right? So I think we do have some advantage of having a small concentrated country. Okay, so I think it's a good question by Nixon again. Mr. Loo and Mr. Chris, we have got OA, SA, MA, and CPF account. Which account to voluntarily top up first if young adults were to top up to be 1865? Not forgetting in future their BTO flats. Okay. So if you don't mind, I take on the question. I want to hear Chris' view as well, because you're also a CPF enthusiast, and you probably understand young people much better than I do. So my view is that it is very expensive for BTO. So you really need that OA for sponsoring that BTO. And for many years, you may not even have enough in your OA for the BTO as well, if your salaries in the beginning are low, right? So don't say your time, even my time. I think in early years, we may not have enough we don't even call it BTO at the time, but let's call it BTO abstractly. So I think it's important that you top up as much as possible your SA if you can, with spare, but also know that your house is your most immediate need. You have to take care of a house first, right? SA is something that's way in future, but OA is something you have a real need. If you have a house right now, you must take care of your basic need first before you take care of your future need. Okay, yeah, your basic needs must be there first. Now, you may not need a condo or landed house, but you need a house. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I view. What do you think, Chris?
Okay, I think let's address the facts first, right? You cannot top up to the OA by itself. You can only target top up the SA via RSTU, retirement sum top up, or voluntary contribution to MediSave, that is VCMA. So you cannot target top up to OA itself. So if you want to be 1M5 consists of all the accounts, right? So it doesn't matter which one you want to top up. But I think your fundamental priority, especially if you're in your early or mid-20s, is to get a roof over your head, especially if you are getting married. Okay, because as with Maslow hierarchy of needs, you will need shelter, and this is your own residence. And you are talking about BTO flat. I would say that, I cover a bit of BTO content and housing content as well. So always look at, if you the size of your head must fit the size of the head Don't wear a big hat if you don't have a big head, right? So you need to look at your own budget. And now government is very generous with the HDB housing grants, the enhanced housing grants. So that will be the first step, because the government pump in the money to both your CPF OA accounts, you and your partner, if you both of you are Singaporeans, right? So that will form the first layer that will help subsidize your first down payment, right? So you have a second appointment. That's when, during the period from your first appointment to the second appointment, you need to work very hard in your job to get income, because that comes in employment and employment CPF contributions that will build your OA again. Okay, so that's the second step. First step is to get the grant first when you're young. Second step is to work on your job, get the OA contributions. The third step is then to think about, if your job really gives you so much income that burst the income tax bracket to so many percent, then that's where you need to start to think tax strategy, how you want to reduce taxes. That's when you start to think about topping up your CPF, whether through MA or SA. Okay, so it's a multi-step process. It's not like I 25 just graduate from school, I want to top up my CPF to the max already. No. Okay, you need to first settle your priority, which is your housing. Then work on the grants, if it's a BTO grant or HDB resale grant. Then during the period between your first appointment versus the second appointment, work on your income, work on your skills. Okay, then lastly, you come and think about tax relief strategies to top up your CPF. So that is like the third stage already. Okay, so don't jump the gun. Focus on the priorities first. That's what I have to say.
Okay. I've got two questions I want to take on. First of all, by Richard, the special skill to run a business. Off my mind, first thing is, of course, you must have a burning passion. Okay. I think it's very important to have a business mentor that can help you. Someone who is very street smart, have done it, have tripped and fall many times, so that you don't make the same mistakes as other people have made. I must say that my journey in business is not as easy as my financial one, because my financial one, I had a financial mentor. Business one, I didn't really have a business mentor. So a lot of trip and falls were made. And only later part, when I somewhat have some success really, then the other entrepreneurs came and shared their experience. I was like, why do you come so late, right? When it come earlier, so that I could learn it much easier, right? So I think getting a good having a good business mentor, or at least a community of entrepreneurs to help out one another would be good. But take note, this is my personal experience. I could be wrong. In Singapore, it's not like Silicon Valley. The people don't share a lot of their trade secrets. Okay, because we compete against each other easily. Because our market is just so small. But in the case of Silicon Valley, everybody has a global mindset, right? The world is so big, so everybody is quite willing to share. So I think if you are blessed to have a mentor, I think would go a long way. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of mentors, right? Actually, when I did my business, I also do a mentor, but I did consult people who are higher level than me, more established than me. So you all know that in work, everyone tells you to go networking, right? But if you're not of a certain level, nobody want to network with you. You need to first be yourself of value first. Once you have proven some value, then people are willing to meet you, right? Because you have something to offer in return. It's like an exchange of ideas, exchange of network, exchange of opportunities. But if you bring nothing to the table, if you haven't proved yourself yet, if you go to these networking sessions, no one will really talk to you because you are nobody. And that's the harsh reality of a business owner, right? So I would say work on your craft in the initial phase. You can go and buy someone coffee higher level than you want. Just buy him a meal, okay? Be generous, and then ask him questions, Q&A, what are things to avoid, and how, because this person has really walked the same path that you are trying to walk, right? So once you learn that, this is something I may experience in my life, then you can apply that. So is it a special skill or not? I wouldn't say. Be very willing to face setbacks. Okay, because maybe in your employee life, you just do everything necessary, you hit the KPI, you get your monthly pay, and you get your bonus. But in business, you do the same thing this month and the next month. We have very different outcomes because of how things are changing. The world is changing. So I would say the skill is be adaptable and be malleable, which means you're willing to learn and unlearn things because business world is very harsh. Yeah, so be prepared for that.
Yeah. I'll just I'll just say this about businesses, and then we can pivot to some other finance question. Since tonight we talk a lot of business, I'm very willing to share more about business tonight. Okay, I might not be able to share more about business in my own channel because very few people like to know about business. Singaporeans, I guess my community is a bit more older. I think it's very difficult for them to become entrepreneur already. But for your community, which I assume is a lot younger than my community, I would just say this. I think what Chris says is absolutely true, spot on, right? You have nothing to contribute in Singapore, they won't share with you. They just want a fat hope. It's a very selfish environment like Singapore. Let's be frank, okay? But that is where you got to differentiate yourself, as a value, right? So in my case, surprise. A lot of people say, "Wow, Mr. Lee, you're so kind. You do 165. You teach people a lot of things." But one of the reasons why I do that is because of not the gains I have in the B2C world, but the B2B world, right? The business people now see Mr. Lu as a financial guru, which I'm not, okay? Then they'll come and ask me about, hey, how do I handle my investment right there? Then I'll say, okay, let's do it. Then we talk business, right? Then we talk business. I've quite a few, in fact, I probably have more B2B business than B2C business, okay? Then we talk business in B2B, right? So it's unfortunate that you would probably have to grow. That's why I say the journey on entrepreneurship is really very difficult, and you must be prepared for that. Okay, you must be prepared for that. Yeah, I wouldn't say you need to be shameless, but you must have tahanability. You must have tahanability. If not,
Tahanability. Yes.
tahanability. There's no other way but tahanability. I wouldn't necessarily say that you need your first 5 years didn't deliver. I've got many businesses that are profitable from day one, but you may not have big huge business. That you want. A lot of people want to be the next Facebook, the next Tesla, the next Amazon, whatever. I think it's very good now to be able to have one that pay your daily bills already for the first few years. Yeah.
Yeah, agree, man. It's like sometimes you don't need to think so high one. You don't need to grow until multinational company. Even if you own like a small 1 person or 2 employee business, it can also generate very good income if the profit margin is there one. Okay, so don't look down on small businesses, okay, because the market is that huge, even beyond Singapore. So you don't have to just look at Singapore as a tiny market. And even as a 1 to 2 business, it may earn you very well beyond your current paycheck already. So I think it's very important to first identify your business as a proof of concept. Then you learn how to scale it, right? So make sure it works first. Then you scale to multiple markets, multiple networks. That's when you start to see, your business really can work. Then maybe you can start to hire more staff and then expand further. Okay, so don't look so far first. You look at how you can start small, how you can expand further. Don't start like you hire 10 employees at the start. Wow, I tell you, your salary expense is going to just kill you within the first few months. It's not going to work.
I know of 2 businesses. One of the I can tell, I can say who it is because everybody knows him. I know of a small business. I won't talk about the business because maybe he doesn't want me to talk about it. He has only got maybe 4 or 5 staff only. And his business, his net worth is $100 million. Okay,
Yeah,
$100 million. Very humble man. Don't stay in a landed house that's rented. Okay, stay in a rented. And he was one who told me that why do I want to put my money into real estate where it's returned such a lousy return? So he's only got 4 or 5 staff. Okay, I've got like, I don't know, almost 10 times his staff, which is a big pain every month, end of the month. Okay, because you have to settle payrolls and things like that. It's a very frightening thing. And the other person, I think he's got, I don't know where you've seen, he's one of the richest men in the world, which is Warren Buffett. His office is so small. Okay, his office is so small, and I don't know, I think it's got less than 20 people in his office, man. Yeah, maybe I got more staff than him, embarrassingly, and I'm like 0.0000001 of his net worth. Okay, and that's, I think, the best businesses, right? So I completely agree. Our measurement of businesses and should not be about how big our office is, how many people we hire. We start small, we scale, we scale gradually, and businesses like investment also compound. In the early years, I think it takes a long time to slowly build up as well. Yeah, that's my view. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Mr. Loo, for your honest sharing, man. I think it's getting a little bit late, lah. But before we close the session, right, I also want to, if you all really want to support both of us, just go and scan the QR code on above of our heads. That will lead you to whatever we stand for. And also, Mr. Loo, how do you enjoy today's session? This time doing a concurrent live stream. Do you enjoy it?
I learned a lot. I didn't even know that can be done. I didn't even know that can be done. Now I learned it. I will try to I'll try to see where I can do more of it. I can even start thinking of hunting down a few people already. But I think the community that I have is a little bit different from the community you have. I came to realize that that I love to talk a lot about my business, some of my business experience, my trip and falls, my experiences, and usually my community don't like to listen. They are listening maybe as bedtime story, but I think that hopefully your community would appreciate that a little bit more, and we could nurture a few more entrepreneurs. And also, I also like my community to hear a little bit more from younger people, from your perspective of things, and we train each other.
Yeah, and I'm glad Mr. Loo come and join this session with me because he's also willing to learn. I'm also willing to learn from his experiences. So that's one very important lesson and takeaway that I want everyone to have lah. Don't be stuck in your close-mindedness. Always expand your horizon and you're open-minded. Learn from everyone else because no one is perfect at everything. The most smart person in the room today, he will not know something that you know about, including both of us in this chat today. You will know something that we both do not know. Yeah, so thank you everyone for coming, and please subscribe to 1M65, Mr. Loo Cheng Chuan. Honored to have him. And yes, we will do this more live sessions in due time. Next time, I'm going to invite you back again when everyone wants to see you, Mr. Loo. I'm sure you are a hot favorite right now.
Well, it's my honor to be invited. Okay, and more importantly, thank you for teaching me that can be done, and also taught me quite a few more things like mousing over. But I really appreciate you have always been teaching me all these years about all this service bank. Thank you.
Hey, anytime. I'm so honored that you are willing to learn from me, a much younger folk. Okay, if you enjoyed this, go and put enjoy +1, right? This one I learned from Mr. Loo. Must kill them one. Enjoy +1. Okay, go and type in the chat. Enjoy +1. Yeah, and yeah, hopefully we'll see Mr. Loo very soon. And for Mr. Loo viewers, you can see him because he learned this skill already. He will then go and invite more high-level people, and then you can see his chat. Yeah, so thank you myself for teaching him. Then next time I can share to you. Okay.
Thank you.
All
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Good night. Yeah, good night. Now, how do I